Hey everybody, thanks for coming in to watch the video. Before it starts, this one's going to be a little bit different, doing this commentary after I did the dungeon. Just want to see how this feels instead of doing live commentaries, do the post game, just so I can focus a little bit more on the gameplay and be able to provide a little bit more information about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and a little bit more information about the dungeon itself. Also, real quick, if I can get to 100 subscribers before Shadowlands, I'll go ahead and start streaming and I'll get a schedule set up for you guys. So for anyone who's interested in that, make sure you subscribe. And besides that, get on to the dungeon. With how many non-elites there are around them, they get bolstered super easily. So you want to try and kill them, single target them down before you kill the little guys, so they don't get super bolstered like they are right now. Also, as a range, you want to make sure that you stay back because they do a frontal, and if you're ranged, you can stay back, don't have to worry about it. On these wave tenders, this pack is the same thing as those halberds. They are surrounded by some non-elites. You want to try and single target the elites down so they don't get less bolstered, and then interrupt as many of the brackish bolts as you can. If the water shell goes off, that's okay. As a shaman, it's okay, or even having a mage, because you can just dispel it right off. So here these marksmen are really a pain. I was fixing some weak auras, which I did cut out, so I was a little bit behind whenever I came in. But those marksmen, as they get bolstered, they target random people, so the tank can't focus them down. They start doing just a lot of party-wide damage that you have to make sure you're focusing. You can see who they're targeting, and then try to use an external if you have it. Unfortunately, shamans don't really have the external, so I just try and do my best to pre-cast a healing surge onto whichever target I can see is being targeted. I used to have a weak aura that showed me which allies were getting targeted by which spells, but since pre-patch it broke. I just need to fix it. Right now you can target, and then my interface shows target of target. So going into Siege of Boralus, first thing to think about is Tyranical, so the bosses are going to have more health, do more damage, so most of the mobs aren't going to be that big of a deal. Bolstering, especially for Siege of Boralus, can be good, because later on we'll have spotters that we can bolster up and then use them to kill packs faster. But also a bad thing is, like we experienced those first two packs, there's a lot of groups of enemies that are one or two elites surrounded by a bunch of non-elites. So if you pull those groups together, they super bolster that one elite in the mob, and he just starts killing everybody super fast. So you gotta be careful with that. Here the tank did an imprison on the wave tender so that she didn't get into combat, and we could just focus the non-elites down. Same thing here, that marksman, super bolster right now, is going to start doing a lot of damage. You can see the mage used an ice block there to keep from getting hit. I use a defensive as well to keep from taking as much damage. I'm also trying to look at the wave tender, get those interrupts where I can. See, that molten slug went through 40% of my health. I get two of them in a row, just 80% of my HP right there. So I should have been a little bit more ready for that. I was too busy doing damage. I should have been more ready for it, and I should have paid attention and cast another healing myself, but I was okay. Same thing here. Tank did imprison on the Vanguard, causing him to stay out of combat and out of range. And I'm trying to focus down the marksman as best I can, but he's just pouring into me at the moment, so I'm trying to line of sight. The Warlock here also should have done line of sight. That way the marksman could have come over. Actually, the Warlock and the Priest should have line of sight the marksman so that we could come over, kill him with the other ones. Alright, now we kill the Vanguard. And we are just killing the Vanguard with these two non-elites up at the top. Just for a little bit, get some percentage off of the non-elites, killing the Vanguard because we need to kill before we can kill the boss. If you kill that Vanguard with the boss, he'll bolster the boss, and that's never good. You need to watch out for the heavy slash. It is a frontal AoE that's very long range, and it will deal just massive damage, and I believe it stuns as well. So the mechanics of this boss, you see I've got the iron gaze on me. That means the boss is going to follow me around, and there's nothing I can do to stop it except for running him in between the bomb and me. He hits the bomb, it dazes him, and he starts taking more damage. That's why instead of using Lust on Pull, I waited until he had that debuff, So I can get the lust, do more damage to him that way. So here, Iron Gauge is on the mage. And what he should have done before was move over to that other bomb so that the boss was already going there. If the boss doesn't run into the bombs before the timer goes off on it, it will do party-wide damage, and on Tyranical, that's going to be a lot of damage. So the mage dies because he wasn't kiting very well.
Beware.
So Hangman's Noose, he'll pull you in, and then he will do an AoE to everybody that's around him whenever he pulls him in. So the best thing to do there is to just let him run in, pull you in, and then just immediately pop a defensive if you need to, but run out as quickly as you can. So you see here, I went ahead and moved to the bomb so that I didn't have to move while he was chasing me. Right, other than that, there shouldn't. If the tank is keeping the ads busy, you can also CC some of the ads as well, so you don't have to worry about them. But with AoE damage, that gets a little bit complicated, so it doesn't work quite as well. And not pay attention to the fact that I just jumped off the bridge. Same thing with this wave shaper, focus him down. Big focus for me on this dungeon is single targeting the elites and killing the explosives as much as I can. That way my my DPS don't have to worry about it, and we can get through the dungeon faster. So here I was expecting the tank to just go ahead and go on the obelisk, but nope, he wanted to pull this, and he did a really weird way. I'm not sure why he didn't just pull beforehand. I don't know why he had to run around like that, but I don't know. Savage Tempest on the Raider. You need to make sure that you just stay away from it. It's AoE. He stays in place and casts the AoE. The Commander will cast Trample. It will target one person and then just trample towards their location. You just sidestep it, and you're good to go. Yeah, these guys, they only have 2 bolster stacks, but whenever it starts, so that was bad. I actually got hooked into that trample though, so I had to Ghost Wolf get out of there as quickly as I could. Alright, into the obelisk. I couldn't click the portal because of target frames, but you know. So the tank snapped him over here. This guy, you just need to interrupt his casts. It's difficult in a pug to get your interrupts on rotation, so some of the casts do go through. I can dispel the curse that causes you to cast slower, but I cannot dispel the disease that causes you to move slower, which is a little unfortunate, but which is actually really bad for me right there. I'm lucky I'm Shaman with Ghost Wolf to an extent because I was slowed and I couldn't get out of the AoE in time if I didn't have the Ghost Wolf form. So these footmen do put hindering cut on the, I believe it's either the closest target or it's just whoever they're aggroed to. But since tank didn't have aggro on everybody, we just all got the hindering cut, which is a bleed. So there's no dispelling it unless you're a paladin and bop it. Use Blessing and Protection. Or if you're a, I believe, dwarves can get rid of bleeds on themselves as well. So yeah, it's really nice with Frost Shock able to take those explosives out in one hit now, or because they made it to where it's only one global to kill the explosive, and Frost Shock has no cooldown, so it's instant cast. You just press it, kill it. Makes it a lot easier on your DPS. So what you saw right there was we used the spotter. He uses that artillery ability on one person where it shoots down 4 cannons, artillery shots on that one person. You can use those artillery shots to kill certain mobs. It doesn't affect the spotter, and it doesn't affect commanders. It affects everybody else. Nor does it affect the ends. Alright, so healing the blob, whatever. Put flame shock on as many tentacles as you can. Interrupt as many mind flays as you can. Dispel as many of the debuffs as you can. That's really all there is to it. Try not to run in front of the tank, which I wind up doing here. But try not to run in front of the tank. That way he always has a place to go. Yeah, so I shouldn't be standing here because the tank is going to be coming this way. Fortunately enough, though, there aren't any... he doesn't shoot any poop at me. So it's all good. And we use this blob to skip that pack right there because we're going to be killing more later on. So here, tank pulls really slowly because you've got a whole pack of elites surrounded by just a whole lot of random non-elites that are already at half health. So tank just kind of pulls slowly, gets rid of these non-elites, and then we go in and pull the rest of the pack. Alright, here it goes. The only thing you really have to worry about with these guys is you do have the spotter, so you've got the artillery that you do need to watch out for, and then broadside. The cannoneer does the broadside. It's a frontal. It's the guy that's holding the big cannon on his shoulder. So you just gotta watch out for that. And then what you want to do is whenever you get that artillery on you, you really need to run over to these guys. To me, it was weird that the tank ran away from us all, so it just made it really difficult to get the spotted artillery on the mobs, and it caused me to trying to run over to the mobs caused me to get out of range of the warlock, and that's why he died. I don't know what he was taking aggro from. He was taking aggro from something, and it killed him. So it might have been the spotter. The spotter will melee you if you get close enough to it. So if you have aggro from the spotter and you are standing right next to it, it will melee you. Otherwise, as long as you're not standing near it, it's only going to cast that spotted artillery ability. So this boss is another boss that you don't want to use Lust right away. The first phase before she jumps over to her ship doesn't last very long. So if you use Lust at pull, you wind up wasting a lot of the Lust. Gut Shot is a bleed that gets put on a random target. So gets put on the mage here, so I just need to spam heals. I know that I'm going to be having to do a lot of heals to him. What I should have done was put Earth Shield on him. And I think I'll do that here later, but we'll see. So whenever she jumps over, 3 people come back over to the ground, the cannoneer and the 2 deckhands. You want to make sure you're killing the cannoneer as quickly as you can, so he drops his cannon and he can be picked up. You see it right there on the floor. The tank picks it up and then shoots the boat. That brings Dread Captain Lockwood back over. As soon as she lands back on her second phase, then you Lust. So yeah, so there I put the Earth Shield on the Priest, which unfortunately it doesn't give damage reduction, but it does increase my healing to that target. So when she's taking the damage, I can just heal it up quickly and more efficiently. And it's pretty funny seeing all the Tempest tornadoes going towards the boss because we all have the same trinket on. So rinse and repeat. Kill the cannoneer so that you can shoot the boat, and then the dread captain jumps back over. I'm not really spending a whole lot of healing spells on the tank right now. I know it's a Vengeance Demon Hunter, he can sustain himself a lot. And as long as he's using defensives, which so far he's proven to know what he's doing. Right there, he did stand in the broadside there and got hit, but besides that, you know, he's, like I say, he's proven to know what he's doing. Of course, as soon as I say that, he winds up going to 5% health, but he didn't even proc his cheat death there, so we're all good. I'm just trying to not take as much damage. I wasn't sure if the tank was going to try and run into the obelisk here, or if he was going to come do this pull. So with how slow the tank's been pulling this whole time, I was not expecting, and I was not ready for this pull here. Had I prepped for it a little bit better, it would have gone a little bit more smoothly. You know, you can see there's 2 explosives. I've got that weak ore there with that orange square with the 1 on it, or with the numbers on it. That's to track how many explosives there are. So we have a lot of explosives going off. There's a lot of AoE going on. The monkey does the banana rampage that puts the bananas on the floor. If you step on those, that stuns you. The big Etten dude, he will do a frontal, and he does an AoE fear, which the AoE fear isn't as much for me to worry about right now, especially since we have 3 ranged targets, nobody standing close to the Etten anyways. But yeah, I wasn't ready for that pull, and I played it very poorly. I should have used cooldown sooner. I should have put down a Cloudburst Totem, used Ascendance as soon as I started seeing things were getting hairy, and then tried to only focus on healing and maybe getting explosive orbs if I could. One thing I'll say that I don't like to be in melee as a shaman. It's actually, with this group, I should be in melee a lot more. Because we're all ranged, because none of us are standing in melee, the tank has nobody to Spirit Link off of. So if I drop a Spirit Link totem on the tank, it's doing absolutely nothing until somebody moves into that totem. So what I should be doing is keeping myself more in between the tank and the ranged DPS. That way, if I do need to drop a Spirit Link totem, I can drop it right on us and immediately get the heal off that I need. Beware. That's something that, watching back on these videos, you know, I'm noticing some of the mistakes that I make. So that crushing slam from the Demolisher, that's the frontal. You just want to make sure that you're staying away from it. If the tank knows what he's doing, he'll be facing the tank or the Demolisher away from you anyways, so you don't necessarily have to worry about it. But if you're melee, you know, you might be standing in front of the mob and not noticing it, so you do need to make sure you pay attention then. I put a square on the tank for that because I noticed earlier that I put that Spirit Link totem down and it didn't do any healing because I didn't really know where the tank was. I just saw where the mobs were and I went based off of that. So this way I can see where the tank is easier, so that whenever I drop my Spirit Link totem, I have a better chance of actually dropping it on him and not missing him completely. Yeah, so these mobs are a pain. You know, those banana rampages. If you stun the monkeys while they're doing that, the Buccaneers, if you stun them while they're casting it, you know, they won't send all the bananas and you're fine. But I only have 1 AoE stun, and we're not communicating with each other to get those stuns off more efficiently. So it's just, I just need to watch the ground a little bit more, which means, you know, maybe a little bit less healing, a little less damage, so I can focus more on healing if I need to. Okay, so for the fear mob, since we have a priest, he was able to mass dispel the first ones, and then I was able to, you know, get 1 dispel off on the next. And I didn't know that you could gateway over this, so that was fun. Nice little shortcut. Doesn't really save us any time since the tank went around anyways. Whenever you have all the fears on the DPS, either pick your favorite DPS or just dispel one of them. See, Priest got Mass Dispel again, so he was able to get the other two. So the tank wants us to stay inside so that the sighted artillery goes only on him. And he can put all 4 shots on that trash pack and just basically instantly kill it. Now, I messed up here. I thought it was already dead. So I come out. And I'm like, oh crap, they're not dead. So I immediately run over and immediately put a stun down. That way they're stunned and they'll get hit by at least 2 of them, is the plan. I also put a slowing totem down so that they don't run out of it as easily either. But I should have stayed in the portal until that pack was completely dead. But again, I don't, since I'm not in Discord or anything with these guys, I don't know for certain if he was just going to type that he was done or anything like that. So here we're actually going to, I don't know what the tanks wants to do, but once I see him run out here, I see, okay, he wants to use this spotter to kill the packs later on. So I'm just moving around, keeping myself from getting hit by the spotted artillery, waiting for the tank to come back over. I'm going to try and kill some of these explosives so that we don't... You can also outrange them, but I am going to try and kill some of them so that we don't get hit by them. That one's not going to be far enough away. This pack is really hard as a shaman, especially whenever you pull a lot of them, because I can't dispel that poison. So I see things are getting hairy. I pop Ascendance. I should have put down my Cloudburst Totem first and then popped Ascendance, so that Restorative Mist, like whenever you push Ascendance, you do an AoE burst heal. That would have gone into my Cloudburst Totem healing as well. I didn't do that. But I should. It's something that I need to look out for later.
Beware.
So yeah, tank's taking a lot of damage from that poison, and this is where an issue comes into play. The commanders don't take damage from those artilleries, so you're not going to be. They're going to get super bolstered, which is probably why he didn't pull all 3 of the packs at once, because then we would have had 3 commanders instead of just 2. So same thing. We're keeping the spotter alive for this last pull. I'm just going to focus on getting the explosives. He's got 4 stacks on him. I know he's going to take a lot of healing now.
Beware.
So you see, I'm not doing a whole lot of damage here. I would like to obviously do more damage. I'm trying to keep flame shocks out at least, and I'm trying to frost shock the explosives so that my DPS can focus on killing the adds.
Beware.
You see that trample? I need to move. I was actually really lucky that wasn't on me. I don't think I saw that trample. So I got really lucky that it wasn't on me, that was on the Warlock instead.
Beware.
I see it's on me, so I run away. Commander's very big right now. Alright, so going in on this boss, he has a really big health pool, but he's really easy. He only has a couple things. He does 3 abilities. One puts,
Beware.
so you've got Breakwater that puts that swirly on the ground underneath you. Once it goes off, deals AoE damage. He's got Crashing Tide, which he puts on the tank. It goes in a straight line. And then there's Tidal Surge. Tidal Surge Just make sure that you are on the other side of the pillar from where the wave is coming, and you're good. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot to worry about. You need to try to prep for these breakwaters as much as you can. I see it's coming, so I put down a cloudburst totem, put in some healing surges. I popped my cloudburst a little bit early just to top off the other person because I knew I wouldn't really need it later. And there's no point in just having a cloudburst going if I'm not going to be doing healing. So once I know there's not going to be going to be healing, like I said, I used the 2 healing surges to heal myself and one other person. Pop my cloudburst so that it tops off the other person.
Beware.
So whenever you're on this boss, you kind of want to make sure that you're never standing directly on the pillar. Just so, because if you stand on that ice, it does damage to you while you're standing on it. Like right there, I shouldn't have gotten hit by that. I should have been paying attention to where the tank was, and I should have moved before he started casting that. But
Beware.
I had my sentence going. As soon as I saw that I was on it, I immediately moved. I stopped any cast I was doing, just immediately moved off of it.
Beware.
Break water, put down cloudburst. I'm pre-casting a healing surge. So that as soon as that breakwater goes off, I'm already getting a heal out. This boss is actually, kind of decent for Resto Shamans because we do such good single target damage. It's really nice for us to help DPS down the demolishing terrors. There is a way you can, if you target Vic Goth, whenever he's casting the debuff, you can actually see who he's going to cast it on, and you can dispel it instantaneously. So I try to do that there. I see he's casting on the tank, so as soon as I see it, I already got my cursor over the tank, ready for the dispel. Priest helped out a lot there. He was able to dispel. I also think that the imp can dispel from the warlock. I'm pretty sure that's why. Yeah, so the warlock has an imp out, so that he can help dispel as well. Which actually wound up making this run a lot easier than it normally is, because normally I wouldn't have been able to dispel both of them. I mean, I still was not able to dispel both of them. But instead of having to worry about the warlock and trying to get in range of him to instantly get him topped off, he just dispelled himself. Probably used a health stone, and he was good to go at that point. So then, as soon as I noticed that he dispelled himself there, I know I don't have to dispel the warlock anymore. He probably has a macro that does it for him. He might have a mouse over macro for his imp, so he can just dispel himself whenever he gets the debuff. My mouse gets stuck there. That's why you see me, swerve, me shaking my camera a lot. My mouse got stuck and I couldn't move because I couldn't change direction since I was going parallel with the swirlies on the ground. I couldn't change my direction since I don't have turn left or turn right bound unless I use arrow keys, and at that point I just wasn't thinking about using arrow keys. So right there, not good. Explosive went off. Maybe even 2 went off. I don't know. That was a lot of damage for just 1 explosive, but we go to recover. I still have all of my healing cooldowns. I probably should have used, I 100% should have used one of them there just to stay safe, but that's alright. So yeah, this is another one. On these bosses, you don't really want to lust right at the start. Here, you just want to lust this last one, get the push, because they do start. It starts really stacking up here. People are running low on defenses, running out of health pots, running out of health stones. So you want to lust. You want to burn this last bridge. Burn this last cannon down as quickly as you can. And there it is. We just have to survive until the cannon gets repaired. And then shoot the boss. Which, I didn't notice this before. It looks like they missed the first shot. That's funny. But yeah. It was a overall pretty clean run. Nothing too detrimental happened. There were definitely a few mess ups that I did. But overall, not bad.